Hey, it's Pete here, and I'm back for a featured lesson. Now, today it's all about transfer responses to one club. Now, this is a convention that I really like. I play it with most of my expert partners, and I think it's a convention that's going to grow a lot in popularity. Now, besides that, it's not one that you must play, and there are some other conventions that work in conjunction really well with it, and if you don't know those other ones, which I'll get to in a bit, then I don't recommend playing two-way transfer responses. But there's lots of different options. Anyway, as also transfer responses, there are lots of different ways to play it. I'm just going to explain the one I do, but there are lots of different ways and they've all got different merits and are all quite reasonable. So if you know of a different way or anything like that, don't think it's inferior or something. I'm just going to explain the way I like to do it and what I think the pros and cons of that are. Anyway, we'll get into it and go from there. So today I'm going to talk about what the method of transfer responses are, continuations for opener and responder, and also after a tricky bid, which is after the one spade response, and also after a one no trump response, and what we do in with interference. And then I'll give some example hands and we can see what we can do. Okay, so first of all, what's the method after of transfer responses after one club? So it's really pretty easy. Everyone knows that that you play transfers after a no trump, and no one makes mistakes with that. And it's pretty similar after one club. Now, the first thing is that you don't need 5 cards to transfer, whereas after a no trump you do when we're over one club. Basically what we're doing is just shifting the bids down a bit. So one diamond says I would have responded one heart says I would have responded one spade says I don't have a major, basically, and one no trump says we'll get back to one no trump anyway. So basically if you're looking at this would just be I have 4 or more hearts. Just got a question. One club opening, is there anything special about it? Not short club. Yeah, good question. You don't have to play short club. You can play short club. You can play better minor and still play transfer responses over that. That is completely fine. I like to play short club when I play transfer responses because if you play short club, it increases the frequency that you open one club by a small amount, and then you can play transfer responses more often. And I think they're beneficial, so for that I like to play short club, but there's no necessity in playing short club when doing that. So good question. Anyway, basic responses. So we've got these 4. One diamond, I have 4 or more hearts. So it's not a 5 card transfer or anything like that. It just says I would have responded one heart. I have 4 or more of them. One heart says I have 4 or more spades, and I've got would have responded one spade. Now, one spade typically says I have no major. There is one exception to this. You've got diamonds and a major and a game-forcing hand. So you've got a really good diamond suit that you want to show, and you can bid one spade with that and then show your major later. So one spade doesn't strictly deny a major, but for the vast majority of the time you won't have one major. But yeah, so it's basically a hand that says I have no major and I want you to typically bid a no trump. Or it says I would have responded one diamond. Now, whatever hands you would usually respond one diamond on, it depends on your methods. If I don't play transfer responses, I often bypass diamonds because I just want to get my majors in there. And if you do that, then the hands where you still bid a diamond are the really strong hands that want to bid diamonds and really emphasize that. So if you've got a game force with diamonds and a major, you can still bid one spade and show your major later. Okay, so one diamond, 4 or more hearts, one heart, 4 or more spades, one spade, typically no major, and one no trump. We've got this free bid because one spade's effectively a transfer to a no trump. So what I like one no trump to be is just an invitational hand. 10 to 12 points, good 10 count, that wants partner to accept with a really good weak no trump. Now, basically, it's effectively like jumping to 2 no trumps now, but you're doing it one level lower, so you got that little bit of safety. So this is one of the real perks of transfer responses, getting your invite down at a lower level. So good 10 to 12 points can bid 1 no trump. So just again, 4 or more hearts, 4 or more spades, no major with one exception, and invitational to 3 no trump. Okay, this is just the general structure. Now, it's really not that complicated. The main thing is just it's a bit unusual and you have to get used to using it. Now, there's a few different ways that people can, if they adopt this system, want to try and remember that they're playing it. One benefit of playing short club is you say alert, or you say two or more, or something like that. And whenever you're in the process of announcing what one club is, then I use that as just a memory jot that, yeah, I'm playing transfer responses. Well, at least I did when in the early days. So the process of me alerting what my partner's bid was focused me in the thinking that, oh yeah, we're in this sort of alerting stage, and that means my bids will be alertable and I'll play transfer responses. Another thing is it's in a grey area that it might be pre-alertable, especially if you're playing at some like duplicates or things like that where people aren't experienced with it. It's kind of good to explain to them that you're playing transfer responses so that they've got a chance to discuss a defense to it. What do they do when you transfer? And if you just pre-alert it at the start of a match, at least when you're adopting it early, then that'll also reinforce it. So both of those things are ways that can sort of jog your memory that you're actually playing transfer responses and don't forget them. That being said, I have forgotten them once and gone for 1100, and that sort of is another good way to remember that you're playing transfer responses. You only do it about once because it can go badly when you forget it, but then just like after opening 1 no trump, once you get used to transfers, it's really easy, you just don't forget them. Okay, so that is the basic responding structure to transfer responses, and we'll talk about some continuations. Now, if it goes like this, the continuations that I like to play is basically the opener does whatever they would have usually done, except they've got this one extra bit of bidding, accepting the transfer. Now, you don't always need to accept the transfer. Like, when you open 1 no trump, partner transfers, you basically always accept it. With transfer responses to one club, that's not the case. Accepting the transfer is there to say I have exactly 3 card support. So this would say I have exactly 3 hearts. If you do anything else, it is just what you would normally do, except you don't have 3 card support. So if you bid 1 no trump, this says I'm a weak no trump with 12 to 14, 11 to 14, without 3 hearts. So you've got 2 hearts, maybe 1 if you sneak some hands like that into it, but essentially a weak no trump with less than 3 hearts. If you repeat your suit, I have an unbalanced hand with clubs, minimum, that has less than 3 hearts. But if you do accept it, this just says I've got exactly 3 hearts. Okay? All of opener's other bids are exactly the same as if partner had bid 1 heart. Okay? So if that's the case, what do you think this 2 heart bid would be? So if partner had bid 1 heart, then 2 hearts would just be a natural raise saying I've got a minimum opening hand with 4 card support for you. Okay? And if you've got extra values, then you can jump to 3 hearts. All of those other bids are exactly the same, except you have that one extra bid that says I have precisely 3 hearts, and you can go from there. So openers' bids really don't change that much. And that's one of the beautiful things of this convention is things don't change drastically. There are only small changes that happen. So opener bids are exactly as they would, except they have this one extra bid that they can bid 1 heart to show precisely 3 cards support. I like it to be forcing. Some people don't. That's just one thing that people do. But I like to put basically any hands with 3 card support in. One exception is with 18-19 balanced, I'd probably still bid 2 no trumps, but you can discuss whether or not you want to accept the transfer with it. But I think jumping to 2 no trumps is fine. So one heart, I have 3 card support and any sort of hand. Everything else natural and denies 3 card support. So if you did this says I have a spade suit and I don't have 3 card support. If you bid, this is one that looks a bit tricky. 1 club, 1 diamond, 2 diamonds. So it's not obvious what this actually is until you think that all the other bids are exactly the same as if partner had bid 1 heart. Okay? If partner had bid 1 heart and the auction went 1 club, 1 heart, 2 diamonds, this would be a reverse. So this is showing extra values. Even though you're bidding the same suit, all you have to do, start thinking about it is, if partner had bid the suit they'd shown, what are my bids normally? And then you just go from there. Okay, it's really not that complicated. This is just a reverse and it's got fewer than 3 hearts I would typically play. Okay, so a club, a diamond showing hearts, 2 diamonds. I actually have diamonds and extra values. Okay, so they're what openers' continuations are. They accept the transfer with 3. They bid any new suit is natural but denies 3 card support for partner. And no trumps, natural but deny 3 card support for partner, except you might bid 2 no trumps with 3, that's the one exception. And if you've got 4 or more card support, you can bid 2 hearts, you can bid 3 hearts. You just bid as if partner had actually bid 1 heart. Now, whenever you do bid things like, whenever you do bid things like 2 hearts, one of the other perks of transfer responses is typically the strong hand will be playing the hand. The opening bidder is usually the strong hand, and they'll usually get to play it, and you've found a fit there. Okay, so there's nothing particularly fancy with openers' continuations. The only thing that does change is the 1 heart bid showing exactly 3, and all the other bids are completely natural, except you've now denied 3 card support, or if you jump in partner's suit, you're showing 4 card support. This is exactly the same as if partner bid 1 heart showing spades. So this would be 4 or more spades. 1 spade now shows 3 card support. Everything else is as if partner had bid 1 spade, but now you can deny that you actually have 3. So I have a weak no trump with less than 3 spades. 2 spades would be I have a minimum opening hand, and I have 4 card support for partner. Okay, so it's as if the only thing that changes is accepting the transfer. Okay, so what are responders' continuations? Okay, so at this stage, I mentioned there was another convention that I recommended people playing before they adopt transfer responses to 1 club, and that's 2-way checkback. I think 2-way checkback is an excellent convention, which is typically used after opener rebids 1 no trump, and all it is using 2 clubs is any invitational hand, but it says please bid 2 diamonds, so 2 clubs is any invitational hand or weak with diamonds. It says bid 2 diamonds and I'll show you what sort of invite I have. And 2 diamonds says I have any game forcing hand. Artificial game force, please tell me what you've got. So 2-way checkback uses 2 clubs and 2 diamonds. Now, if you play transfer responses, I recommend also playing 2-way checkback over any 1 level bid, 1 level response, 1 level continuation. It's called XYZ in this position. So 1X, 1Y, 1Z, whatever happens, if you get 3 bids at the 1 level, then you can play 2-way checkback. So you can still use 2 clubs as partner, I want you to bid 2 diamonds. I'm going to show you any invitational hand. And you can use 2 diamonds as any artificial game force. So I really like playing 2-way checkback or XYZ over any 1-1-1 response. Some people have a few exceptions. You can discuss that with your partner, but for convenience, I would play it over all 1-1-1 bids. And how does it continue? So 1 diamond, which does have to be alerted, by the way. You have to alert transfers and you have to alert the continuations, explaining because they're not necessarily natural. So even if you had this bid, you'd have to alert one no trump now, because while it's a weak no trump, it does deny something a bit different. So I'd alert one no trump. Okay, so continuations. First of all, two-way check back applies. So if South here had a weak hand with, say, 5 hearts, if they've got 5, they know they have a fit. They can just bid 2 hearts, and this is, I am less than an invitational hand. If they're game forcing, they can bid the 2 diamond check back bid. Okay, this says I'm game forcing, tell me more information. This does not necessarily promise a heart fit yet, but it does say that we're starting a game force, please give me a bit more information. And if you bid 2 clubs, this says partner bid 2 diamonds. I've either got a weak hand with diamonds, so you might have 4 hearts and 6 diamonds, and then you might just pass. But other than that, you could then bid 2 hearts and get your invite out at this lower level. So responders continuations, typically if they've got a fit, they've got the use of two-way check back, or XYZ, where they can just raise the suit if they're minimum. They can bid 2 clubs with any invitational hand, or weak diamonds, because it forces 2 diamonds. And 2 diamonds is any game forcing hand. So this is the part that's a little bit complicated, but if you play two-way check back already, it's really not that difficult. It just uses that sort of convention that you use in more areas, which will really help your memory, because it's just more consistent, and you'll see it come up more, and you'll just get more used to it. So responder can bid 2 clubs, any invite, 2 diamonds, game force, anything else. Well, raising the suit's not. Other things they can do is they could just bid a spade, and this would say, I don't have 5 hearts, but I've got, say, 4 in the majors. What do you have here? And you can just bid naturally. Anything else would just be natural and show only 4 card support. So responders continuations are all completely natural, except for the two-way check back bids, and they've now got that information that partner has exactly 3 and they can bid appropriately. If they've just got a minimum game force, they can jump to 4 hearts if they've got 5 card support. If they've got a slam try, people that play two-way check back can use jumping to 3 of the suit to set it and slam try. So you can have 3 hearts as a slam try. This one could get, if you're a bit uncomfortable with it, that one can get forgotten. So only if you're very confident that you and your partner know the system would I use that bid. But other than that, responders continuations are that whatever they would do knowing that their partner's got at least 3 hearts. If they've got a no trump bid, they bid that. If they've got a fit, they tell their partner they've got a fit. And if they want to look for a fit in the other major suit, they just bid naturally. But you have the two-way check back to either start a game force at a really low level, you can invite at a really low level, or you can just sign off by showing partner that you've got a fit here, as you would normally. But this time you know for certain that you've got a 5-3 fit and can get out like that. So responders continuations, not too difficult. The main thing is that I like to play two-way check back, or XYZ, and you just have to remember that that comes up after any 1-1-1 bid. As I said, I recommend that you play two-way check back. It's not necessary that you do. There are other options, but that's definitely my preferred method, and I think it's a convention that works well in conjunction with transfer responses. So what are responders continuations if partner doesn't accept the transfer? Let's say they bid 1 no trump, and they're just showing a weak no trump with fewer than 3 hearts. Well now, again, I still play two-way check back here, so 2 clubs and 2 diamonds are still on. But this time, if South has just a 5-card heart suit, they no longer need to check back to find out if partner's got a 5-3 fit. So there's lots of times that they can just bid 3 no trumps and not give the opponent's information about what their hand is more than the fact that they've got 4 hearts and the other person doesn't have 3. So you don't need to go into that sort of detail and always use check back. if you've got a 5-card suit, because you've already diagnosed that you don't necessarily have a fit. Otherwise, if partner does anything else, responder just bids as usual, but they have that extra knowledge that partner does not have 3-card support. This can really help if you're trying to judge, should I go to my suit again or not, because you know straight away whether partner can or can't have 3-card support. And you might be able to piece down their hand shape a little bit quicker. So that are responders' continuations. That we've just discussed after responder transfers to a major. What about if responder bids 1 spade? So again, what was 1 spade? This is typically no major. It can be diamonds and a major with a game force. So any hand that wants partner to bid no trumps, or any hand that would have responded 1 diamond can bid 1 spade. You're not necessarily promising diamonds, but that's typically what you will have. So what are openers' continuations after this? So partner hasn't promised diamonds yet. They can have it quite frequently, but basically I bid as if partner said I have no major. Now, maybe it's gone a club pass or no trump, maybe it's gone a club pass or diamond. How would you respond in those sorts of situations? What the north hand will typically do is bid 1 no trump with a lot of the hands. This just says I've got a minimum opening hand and didn't want to rebid 2 clubs. It doesn't necessarily have to be strictly balanced, but that is what it'll typically be a lot of the time. Other bids, they can bid 2 clubs natural. And the main one that you want to discuss is what's a 2 diamond bid. Now, because partner doesn't necessarily need diamonds for their 1 spade bid, I like this to be a reverse, but you could discuss with your partner and make it something else. So I'd make North's bids, whatever they are, all completely normal, nothing artificial, just they bid exactly naturally after the 1 spade bid, which just typically denies a major. Okay, nothing fancy after that. And yeah, so we'll often go a club, a spade, and no trump, and go from there. So what are responders' options after this 1 spade bid? Well, they've got 2-way check back available, so they can bid 2 clubs, forcing 2 diamonds. So if South just had a club raise, they should really make it the first time, because they can't bid a spade and then get out in 2 clubs. But other than that, they just try and judge where they want to go. If they did have diamonds and a major, they can use the 2 diamonds game forcing check back and go from there. There's lots of options that you could readjust with this auction, because there's sort of unused bids of 2 of a major and things like that. But it goes into a lot of unnecessary detail that you don't really need to overcomplicate things, so I'll just keep it pretty natural after 1 no trump, not have very many exceptions, and go from there. So after the 1 spade bid, opener and responder, very natural, but I tend to still play 2-way check back in these situations and go from there. The final thing was, what if responder bids 1 no trump? So this will be invitational to 3 no trumps, so those hands that usually jump to 2 no trumps, but you get this huge benefit of doing it a level lower, so you got that extra safety net whenever partner passes. So over this, everything partner does is completely natural. So if South wants the North player to accept with a good no trump, so with 14 points, maybe a really good 13, they can accept with 3 no trumps. If they just want to get out in 2 clubs, they can do that. And if they want to bid something like this, while they know their partner can't have a 4-card major, because otherwise they would have transferred to it, now you can just reverse into hearts. And there's just a natural reverse. You might be trying to show your shape, maybe find out a bit more information, but you can still bid naturally after this. This would be game forcing as well, because partner's got 10 to 12, you've got reversing values, and you can go from there. So after the no trump, bids, they're all natural. Notice that it's not two-way check back at this stage because it's not a 1-1-1 bid, but just a one level, one response. That's all the basics there is to transfer responses. Next, I was going to discuss after interference. So, first of all, if East doubles, I like to play system on. You've got one diamond, all your transfer bids are still the same. If East bids one diamond, I also like to play transfer responses, but this is one you have to discuss with your partner. And double can just be used to say, I have 4 or more hearts. Okay? And then you've still got 1 heart, 1 spade, so nothing really changes. 1 heart and above, you can, I tend, transfers are off basically. But some people rejig things here. They can use double as I have 4 or more spades and 1 spade as I don't, but that is, that's like an iffy one you want to discuss with your partner. It won't just be assumed. So you can just say after 1 heart, you can just go back to normal negative doubles, 4 spades, and bidding 1 spades 5. You can rejig things as well, but without prior agreement, I'd say that transfers are just off, and you go back to normal system after a 1 heart bid. And if the opponent's bid to 1 spade, transfers are definitely off. There's nothing there. And you just bid as you usually would. If the next person intervenes, like this, and bids a spade, your auctions just continue completely as normal as if partner had bid 1 heart. You can play support doubles, you can do whatever you usually do, but your system will continue on as normal, and just pretend that partner's already bid a heart, and that everything is exactly the same. Okay, so a club, a diamond, a spade intervention, double can be shown 3, everything else would continue as per normal, so nothing changes too drastically. The main things that you need to discuss is when the next hand intervenes in the east spot. When do transfers stay on? When are they off? And what do our bids mean? But when the other person intervenes, it's really easy. You just go back to whatever you'd normally do without transfers and just assume that partner bid appropriately. Another thing to discuss is when your opponents are playing transfer responses, what to do. Now, there are a few different methods that I hear of people playing, so I'll just run through a few of them. Say the one I play, I don't really think it's that important, but it's important to know what your method is rather than which one's strictly better. So first of all, the thing is you've got this 1 heart bid, or you can double, and what do you want to use them for? Now, I tend just to keep double the same and saying I've got a takeout of their suits, clubs and hearts. And I just use the 1 heart bid as natural and say, yeah, I've got a better heart suit and I wanted to bid it. It's not necessarily the best way, but it's pretty natural, and I haven't found any really awkward methods with it. Some other people reverse that and use double to say, hey, I've got diamonds, and 1 heart to say I have a takeout double. I find that if you do this, you remove the chance of penalizing them, but that's not a huge thing. You do get the chance to show your diamonds at a lower level, but maybe that's not a good thing either because you're not preempting the auction at all and overcalling. So there's a few ifs and buts between that. A third option that you can use is double to say I have spades and diamonds, the like unbid suits or the suits they haven't shown, and use 1 heart to say I have spades and like clubs, like because people play short club, maybe you want a takeout double that says, hey, I've kind of got their suit that they might be fudging a little bit. I think this option's reasonable, but depends how much detail you want to go in with your partner. That's all there really is to transfer responses. You just want to discuss with your partner those sorts of situations. Anyway, I've got some practice hands that we'll go in and try and use. So let's see what we would have done. So we're just looking at the north-south cards, and here, what do we got? 14 highs and a 5-card suit. I'd definitely open the north hand, 1 no trump, but besides that, we'll say we just open 1 club. And now south has 5 hearts, 5 diamonds, and you just want to think, how would I typically respond? Now, some people get the question like, if you've got 5 spades and 4 hearts, what do you do? And you can say, well, what would I normally do if I wasn't playing transfer responses? That's the suit I want to show first and keep the auction going from there. So here, I want to show hearts, so you can just bid 1 diamond. This north hand has 3, so they can bid 1 heart. And now that north-south know they've got a fit straight away. Here, the south hand's got a game force, might want more information, and they can just bid 2 diamonds. Two-way check back, find out that bit more information. Now, what I like to do, you've already shown 3 card support. I think the main priority after this sort of auction is telling your partner you're actually a weak no trump and actually a balanced hand. So I would bid 2 no trumps as the main priority. And now south maybe not so interested anymore, but if they were, they could bid 3 diamonds natural. And if they wanted to slam try, they could bid 3 hearts. But maybe with just 13 opposite a weak no trump, they just end up in bidding 4 hearts. Just got a question. Wow, this is all new for me. I guess that's not really a question. But yeah, like this is just a possible convention. You don't need to be playing this, just reiterate. But it's a useful convention. There's lots of different details in there. If you like, by no way is this necessary that you have to do. It's just a convention that I like, and I think it will grow in popularity. And it's interesting to look at. And it's not drastically different, although the bids are all alertable and things like that. The structure doesn't change too much. But if you like, there's no need to actually play this convention, but it is a good one that I like. But yeah. So if you're finding it all a bit complicated, I wouldn't worry too much about it, and I'll just leave it alone. But if you like the idea of it, you can try and introduce it and see how it goes. Yeah. So next hand. I wanted north to open, I just got the bidding out of whack. So let's just pretend that north was first to act. So here it can go 1 club, and it goes pass, and the south hand has clubs and spades. Now you've probably got a club fit, especially if you're playing better minor, and if you're the south hand, you still want to look for your spade fit, so you'd bid 1 heart, and partner would bid 1 spade, saying I've got exactly 3. South knows they don't necessarily have it. Well, they know they don't have a fit in spades, but now they just want to invite partner. They've got 11 points, so I'll just bid 2 clubs, two-way check back, which forces 2 diamonds, and now South can say I'm invitational, and I have a club fit for you, or at least I've got 5 of them. What do you want to do? This north hand is a maximum with a balanced hand, so they can just bid 3 no trumps. North can bid 3 no trumps. They often get it out of whack a bit. So that's how this auction could go. This third auction, North can open 1 club, and South can bid 1 heart showing spades. So North hand's got 15 points and 4 card support. So they know they've got a fit. When you have 4 card support, you just think, what level would I have raised spades to? I think this is worth a 3 spade bid. Sort of like good 15 up to bad 18, I guess. And now the south hand with 8 points and a little bit of distribution can raise to 4 spades. And you get the stronger hand playing it, as well as a few other features. Not that a diamond lead's particularly good on this situation, but in general that'll work a bit better. Okay, so here North has 4 clubs, 4 diamonds. If you're, we'll just say we open a club. Some people might open a diamond on this hand, that's fine. South has 7 points and 6 spades, they just transfer. Their partner has 3, so they can bid 1 spade. And South is just minimum, so can bid 2 spades, saying that they're less than an invite. And the North hand here is just dead minimum and can pass. Here, 13 points, 5-4. One club. South, 4-4 in the majors. What suit would you usually bid first if you weren't playing transfer responses? You'd just bid one heart. So here you just want to transfer to one heart. Partner does not have 3-card support, so they think, what would my option be if my partner bid one heart? I'll just bid a spade here, showing clubs and spades. And this is alertable as well because it denies 3 hearts, so 4 spades, they've got clubs. And now South has a spade fit, and they know they don't have a heart fit, and they can just raise that there, and the auction can stop like that. This one, North's got a bit of an awkward hand. They open one club, and South bids one heart, showing spades, and North's a bit stuck here. They don't have 3-card support, so what would you usually do? Bit awkward. So one bid that they could make is 2 clubs to say I'm a minimum unbalanced hand. This club suit's pretty ratty like that. So I would probably bid one no trump. It's sort of like what's the least evil option. But the good news about bidding one no trump now when you play transfer responses is your partner knows you don't have 3-card support. If you weren't playing transfer responses, I might bid a no trump, but I'd feel more awkward about it because partner doesn't assume a singleton nearly as much and might assume 3-card support sometimes. But here they know I've got at most 2, occasionally 1. But they usually want to bid as if it's got 2, not worry too much. But here they've got 7 and I've got a pretty reasonable hand. I would make an invitational bid with this sort of hand and go from there. But definitely a pretty awkward hand for North. But I think playing transfer responses, it reduces the risk of bidding one no trump with this sort of hand. So I think that's pretty a reasonable action. Here goes one club, and South has 8, 10, 13 points. Now they could just bid 3 no trumps if they wanted to, but if they wanted their partner to play it, they could bid 1 spade, saying no major or diamonds in a major game force. And now this North hand, not strictly balanced, but I would bid a no trump anyway. And now as the South hand, I'd just bid 3 no trumps and get my partner to play it. Okay, that was the final example hand. So that's all I was going to cover with transfer responses. Just a quick recap of what we did cover. We talked about the method, which is a diamond showing hearts, a heart showing spades, 1 spade saying I don't have a major, or that one exception with diamonds and major game force, and the 1 no trump response showing 10 to 12 points and an invite. Openers continuations are just that they accept the transfer with 3. Everything else stays exactly the same. Responders continuations are that if it's gone 1-1-1, it's just a 2-way checkback situation. After the 1 spade response, opener typically bids a no trump, but bids exactly as they usually would. And responder just bids as they would. They've still got 2-way checkback available. After opener, what does opener do after a 1 no trump response? Well, they got the invite of a good 10 to 12 points. So they know that partner wants them to accept with a maximum weak no trump. They might go with 13. And finally, with interference, if they double, systems on. If they bid a diamond, systems on, but doubles now the transfer. If they bid a heart, you can discuss what you do. And if they bid a spade, systems off. If the other guy intervenes, then what you do is just assume that partners bid the suit they've shown already and go from there. Anyway, that's all I was really going to cover with transfer responses. I covered a lot in this short time, but hopefully that gives you a better understanding of what transfer responses are. They help you find fits at low levels. They let you get invites out at low levels. They let the strong hand play more often. So I think it's a really good convention, worth trying out, but if not, it's not needed that you need to try it out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.